Wow. All this time I knew camera had a function, I can actually shoot in the dark. What are the odds of that happening? Actually, I look really good now. Wow. It took me this long to actually realize I had this function on here. So, before I get into the movie, a little bit of housekeeping here. As stated in the last CineVlog, my Vimeo channel's down, so if you want to see episodes of Vaulting, whether it be new or past, go to manexpression.com or bitshoot.com/profile/moviefl90. You can see updates on my Twitter at moviefl90. And lastly, there is the fan club page, which is the official Vaulting fan club page. I'll post links down below the video so you can see where I am and all that sort of stuff. With that out of the way, let's talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Sorry, my phone went off for a second there. You know, something tells me this movie was supposed to be the Godzilla movie we were supposed to get in the 90s. And then Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich were hired on to do their take. Their reluctant take. Go watch my review of that movie. There's a lot of details in there. I guess the best thing to say is the studio heard us. They actually listened. They actually gave us a Godzilla movie with, I'm going to say, roughly 60% more Godzilla than there ever was Godzilla in the one that Gareth Edwards did. But at the same time, as good as the monster fights are, and as gorgeous of a movie this is a really gorgeous looking movie. See it in IMAX, see it on the big screen, it's definitely worth the ticket. If you just want a straight up fun summer blockbuster, this is for you. This is literally the summer blockbuster you just want if you want to turn your brain off and just see the epicness and the craziness, but it comes with a price. The plot doesn't make any frickin' sense. I'm not gonna spoil it, don't worry. When I talk about the plot, I will say, turn off video, I'm gonna talk about things. Because in order to talk about where I stand with this film, I have to talk about the plot. And it's a really stupid one. I mean, I shouldn't really feel this bad. I shouldn't really be expected, because a lot of the Godzilla movies in the past, even the ones from Japan, had insane plots. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, I really love that one. That has a time travel subplot. There's one where Godzilla goes up against Mecha Godzilla, and Mecha Godzilla's being controlled by alien Planet of the Apes creatures hiding as people. Megalon, it was like this giant bug monster that's being worshipped by these weird bug-like cult, and his allies like Jet Jaguar, this Ultraman knockoff. And then the weirdest one being the Gigan movie with, like, if I remember correctly, alien cockroaches. You're just expecting to say, "Welcome to Joe's apartment." No, welcome to Monster Island. It's also our island too. Oh man, James would love that reference if he's watching this video. So, to understand where I come from with this, my thoughts in regards to this movie, the 2014 one by Gareth Edwards, I didn't mind too much. When I first saw it in theaters, I was ecstatic because I thought, oh my goodness, they finally got it right. They got a Godzilla movie that is not as bad as what Roland Emmerich did. And the Roland Emmerich was a good attempt, but let's put it this way. If you're going to do a run-of-the-mill generic monster movie, don't call it Godzilla, call it something else. It's clear they just slapped on there for marquee value. They could have done better with it. So, with the Gareth Edwards movie, I think we were just on that hype. We were just like, oh great, they can actually make a good Godzilla movie. But upon repeated viewings, I had to sit back and be like, yeah, this does not hold up as well as I thought first time around. The fact they saved the big fight near the end and Godzilla's barely even in it, and instead of these giant muddo insect starship trooper creatures. Yeah. Not as fun. Like, ooh. All these lights come on. It's like something out of Close Encounters. I gotta be quick. So yeah, that one did well with critics, I guess. But like I said, it doesn't hold up as well. Even I rewatched it, I believe, after it came out on like Blu-ray DVD, and I'm just sitting back going, yeah, something tells me this isn't as good as I remembered it. So who do they get for this one? Michael Dougherty. Dougherty? I'm bad at pronouncing names. Don't judge me. The guy who did Trick or Treat and Krampus, which are both really good movies, especially for a low-budgeted guy that's worked in the field of horror. So for him to handle this project, it makes sense, because Godzilla, in his very first incarnation, that 1954 movie, he was seen as a horror icon. Even when you watch the American re-edit they did with Raymond Burr as Steve Martin, the reporter, not the comedian, they do acknowledge how big of a threat Godzilla is, and how he's this indestructible beast, this metaphor for the H-bomb. And there were some cool characters here and there. I remember the scientist with the eye patch that has the oxygen destroyer. So for a horror director to actually take a project like this, it makes sense, because you want that aspect of wonder at the scope and scale of these creatures, but also horror. And there is scope, there is scale, there are some spectacular fight scenes, even some really good shots, especially with King Ghidorah. But at the same time, the plot is so convoluted and complex that even if I described it, you would look at me and say, that sounds like a bad Doctor Who episode. But at the same time, there are some aspects I can kind of see it working, but at the same time, it's so ridiculous. I can't even spoil it. Okay, let's talk about the good stuff. The monsters are cool. If you're here to see the monsters, you're going to get your money's worth. I mean, believe me, you really are going to get your money's worth. They really chose a smart move by taking these classic creatures and putting them into here and kind of revamping up a little bit. Godzilla, the obvious. The fact they picked Rodan, King Ghidorah, and Mothra really shows they care about the fans. They really want to go after the people who really know the source, who are able to pick out some of the Easter eggs they allowed through this movie and such. And they have like a pretty good wide variety of Easter eggs, even right down to the Mothra twins, again, the oxygen destroyer and stuff like that, without giving too much away, of course. There's even like bits in the soundtrack where you can hear like the Mothra theme and things like that. Even the Ghidorah theme, I think, at one point too. I could be wrong there. So they are trying to go for the fans. They're really trying to get that fan base in and say, hey, we know the source material. Come to us. We're okay. They're at least trying to show they respect the monsters. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The human characters are a little hit and miss. I'm glad they brought Ken Watanabe back as the scientist. You know, let them fight. He has some really good scenes and a nice little emotional arc. And it wasn't up until a certain point in the movie I realized what his character was supposed to be. In the original 54 Godzilla, there's a scientist that invents this bomb called the oxygen destroyer, which is said to be the thing that destroys Godzilla. And he has like notes and research and everything, and he's afraid to pass that information on because he knows in the wrong hands that could be used for evil. That could be used for, nothing really good. I feel like they were trying to do something similar here with Ken Watanabe's character, but in a reverse manner, where he has all this knowledge about the monsters. And the monsters themselves can be a force of destruction. They can be something that will bring the ultimate extinction of the human race, and he wants to find the right person to pass this on to. Okay, that's fine. That I'm fine with. A couple of the characters here and there, they're okay. There's a scientist that knows a lot about the mythology and stuff, and she, I guess, is supposed to be an homage to the Mothra twin girls, but roped up into one. Please forgive me, I just got out of this movie and I'm trying to process everything. Same thing with last week when I was doing Aladdin. How dare you forget that Steve Barron directed The Adventures of Pinocchio? You're processing... I just came out of the movie. There's only so much to process here. There's cool monster fights, but a plot that sucks. Okay. I like the fact that they got the Monarch thing back and they're doing like some world building here and there. They're kind of like the Men in Black or Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and are trying to get these monsters under control, and they know that they can be used as a force for good. They can be used as something of good. But if put into the wrong hands, they're gonna screw up the world big time. Like, even the specs on Godzilla they throw in are incredible, but also dangerous. You know for a fact that when you have Godzilla running around, no one is going to be safe. Not a single building is going to be safe from destruction, so they're trying to handle that and stuff. I'm trying to think what else it's good. Again, it's beautifully shot. There are some really cool scenes. When Ghidorah rises from where he is, it's almost like as if hell's unleashed. I love that, how there's like flames in this pit and everything, and he like slowly rises. There's even a shot in the movie where he's like near this little area in Brazil, and you see like all this fire and stuff, and there's like a cross in the foreground. Stuff like that's great. You can tell there's an artistic sense while also being entertaining in terms of spectacle and grand scale and scope. And it definitely delivers in the entertainment. The monster fights are good. They don't, like, annoyingly cut away. When they do, they try to make sure it holds on for, like, a couple of moments so there's a mixture between the humans and the monsters, so you're not getting cheated out. They definitely go all out at the end. They definitely go all out. So I can say from there that's the entertaining aspects. If you're looking for just a straightforward, fun monster movie, this is for you. If you're just looking to turn your brain off, kill 2 hours and 12 minutes, that's fine. The only big deciding factor, and again, I'm gonna go as spoiler-free as I can here with this aspect. Well, as entertaining as the monster stuff is, the stuff with the humans really sucked. You did a good job with the creatures, but we need better characters. We need better than just Rick Sanchez scientist that cracks dumb one-liners. We need more than just, like, generic wraparounds that are just there to be either red shirts that we don't, like, give 2 cents about. Even the main characters are just... Oh, man, they're so... Okay, so the plot... Again, being spoiler light as I can here, it involves a couple that's divorced because Godzilla did something. I'm just going to leave it there. And now they're divorced. The father's off and examining animals, and the mother is with the Monarch people. And... I can't be spoiler free about it because it's so convoluted. Millie Bobby Brown, oh my goodness, 11 from Stranger Things, what did they do to you? What did they do? The whole movie, she's just there, standing around. She barely does anything until like the very last third when she does something to stop the monsters, and even then she's put in so much peril. They could have done so much with her character. Like, oh my goodness. I think that's about as far as I can go. No, there is one thing that I can talk about that was actually kind of a surprise to me. The fact they got Charles frickin' Dance in this movie. That's right, the bad guy from Last Action Hero is in this. It took me a while to realize it was him, because the moment he started speaking so deliciously evil and wicked and vicious, I kept thinking to myself, oh my goodness, it's the bad guy from Last Action Hero. What's he doing here? Because British people are always evil, aren't they? So, it was just such a surprise. And considering where his character goes at the end, I'm going to approach this right now. If the movie becomes some kind of shared universe, can it be a shared universe with Last Action Hero? That's the only reason they can explain his presence for being in this movie. He's so over the top. If you've seen Last Action Hero, you know what I'm talking about. Charles Dance plays this villain in Last Action Hero. He has like a fake eye, and he keeps like switching out like a contact and stuff. And then throughout the movie, he goes from being like a number 2 thug to being an actual villain and breaks out in the real world to try and control like all the movies and stuff and get these villains out in the real world. Come to think of it, this actually shares a similar premise with Last Action Hero, the more I think about it. But seeing him here was actually kind of nice. He was, like, deliciously sweet. But at the same time, his motivations were so interestingly stupid. I can't even go into it without ruining it, but let's just say he wants to do something with the monsters. It's not Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom ridiculous, where they want to use dinosaurs to modernize as weapons, but at the same time, I just kept thinking to myself, wait a minute, aren't you listening to what you're saying here? Aren't you hearing the plan and the motivation you're speaking here? There's something about it that just doesn't add up unless there's a certain key element you forgot to mention. It still doesn't make any damn sense. I think that's all I can actually give away here. The soundtrack's awesome. The soundtrack's actually awesome. The minute I go home, I'm definitely going to see if I can get a copy of it. The orchestrations are gorgeous to listen to. They are so boisterous and grand scale. It really feels like they really want to pull you in. Like, there's certain music cues here and there that are so episodic and amazing. It's just like, oh, I just want to listen to that soundtrack right now. It's like if James Newton Howard was just boosted up with steroids. That's how good the score is. When it gets to those monster fights and you hear that score, it is booming. Like, really see this in IMAX. It's gonna be really good. I think that's all I got to talk about in terms of spoiler-free stuff. So, final verdict, I feel like they just took a really dumbed-down script that had some really weak character motivations and story, and they just decided to put something to it. But at the same time, that something is so spectacular and jaw-dropping that I wish that the rest of the movie was better. If I was to give it a score, maybe 7 out of 10 at best. It's like if they gave Independence Day to it's like as if they got Vincent Van Gogh to be the production designer for Independence Day. The story and the script are not up to par, but it's a gorgeous movie to look at. Like, I really want to see this movie again just for the gorgeousness. And again, the monster designs, Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah, they look so close to the counterparts, and yet they're perfectly revamped, not too far to the point it's removed. I was worried about Mothra because I'm so used to that fluffy, cute little butterfly, and then seeing her here as a complete badass with these little praying mantis-like arm thingies that can stab you, that was great. I love that. Her fight scenes are pretty cool, too. That's all I got. It's a spectacularly looking movie, but if you're going to go in expecting the meaning of life, let me put it this way, if you liked the Gareth Edwards movie and expecting something breathtaking and grand, it's not going to be that. They're obviously going for the popcorn value. It's pure, straight, front-up entertainment. But it's nice to see on the big screen. Trust me, it is worth seeing just for the fight scenes, just for the monsters. The beauty and majestic of the destruction is just so great and grand scale. But if you didn't like the Gareth Edwards Godzilla, you're gonna have fun with this one. If you just want pure, straight-up fun, just straight-up recommendation, go see it. So with that, you can stop the video right here if you don't want to be spoiled, because there's stuff I gotta talk about in terms of the plot, because this is the big deciding point for me. I just think it's a fun movie. It's just, the story. So, stop video right here if you don't want to get spoiled. Bye! Later! Good luck! See you later! Alright, I'm gonna spoil the movie now. Oh, I got a lot to talk about. Oh my god. Okay, so if you don't want to be spoiled, stop the video, because, oh my goodness. Here we go. Spoiler time. So the story is pretty much what happened if you took Dr. Dolittle and turned it into an espionage James Bond style movie. If it was directed in the 90s. I'm almost tempted to know if they actually did dig up something from the 90s and said, oh, we'll just make something grand to it. Ooh, nice flashing lights. So quintessentially, Millie Bobby Brown's mother, she invents a machine, this little desktop-like device that can help people communicate with the monsters. And this evil team, again, led by evil Charles Dance, wants to use it to somehow awaken the monsters and destroy the world, because their motivation is humans have polluted the world, are on the nerve of mass extinction, blah, 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 yada, 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 and they feel that if the monsters destroy the planet will somehow regrow itself into a new civilization of no cities but trees and stuff, so they could just start all over again. Okay, I can see that working if they said this. Their plan was to make the planet anew and then take over it and be number one, no government, just have like their own civilization and stuff. That's fine. But because they don't bring that up and they just simply say, oh, we're just unleashing these monsters for the sake of just destroying the world. Okay, fact checked, you're on planet Earth. You're doing this. Not only are you setting extinction for humanity, but you're also setting extinction for yourself. What good will it come from unleashing these titans to destroy a planet you live on? Unless there's like a bunker or something you can live under. It just doesn't add up. Okay, control the monsters, fine. I am 100% fine with that plot thread. If you just want to control these monsters for the sake of, I don't know, taking over the globe, that's fine. Creating mass extinction so you can create a whole new civilization and let like the whole Earth or whatever, so oh, these Titans and Guardians, they need to bring back the balance of nature because we upset it. Okay, Bolshevik. That's absolute Bolshevik. I'm not buying that. Even Bobby Millie Brown there, just standing around, just going, you said it would be like this, you said it'd be like that. Oh my goodness, she doesn't do anything until like the tail end, when she uses the device to like get the monsters to stop rampaging all over the world. Whoops. It's just so frustrating, because you have these creatures at your aim, and you could do anything with them. You could tell them to go to Krispy Kremes in Florida and bring you back a bunch of donuts. And the thing they think about first is, oh, we're going to destroy the planet so it could become new again. Yeah, you're destroying a planet and you're living on it. If you're going to wipe out this entire civilization that you're part of and have these monsters take over the planet, where exactly does you fit in the equation? It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. And yet later on, Ghidorah gets like control of the monsters and stuff, and so it becomes pretty much a dominance fight with Godzilla and Ghidorah. Again, great fight scene, by the way, for Godzilla to take control of the monsters and stuff. Oh, by the way, nice shout out to the design work of Godzilla's little grotto pad. There's a bit where they have to try and revive him because he gets injured at one point, because the idiots have to send in the supernova oxygen destroyer to stop him at one point when he's trying to save a bunch of people. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I'll give props to the design of like his little underground bachelor pad lair with Mesopotamia designs and stuff. That was actually kind of cool to look at. The climax of this movie, of all the places they could have chosen, why did it have to be Boston? Why? Why did it have to be Boston, Massachusetts? What did we do? What did we do? Oh yeah, Deflategate. There was a guy walking in there with wearing like a Red Sox jersey. I wonder if he's going in to see this movie, because I would love to see the reaction on his face when Ghidorah swoops in and destroys Fenway Park. Whoops, that happens. So great, all of Boston is obliterated thanks to Godzilla. Well, then again, the Mutos and Godzilla destroyed California in the 2014 Godzilla, so there's your trade-up right there. I wonder how James feels about having California somewhat destroyed in the Gareth Edwards Godzilla, and yet the Michael Dougherty Godzilla has Boston getting rubble to the point it's a nuclear wasteland. I don't know how to feel about this. I really don't. Oh my goodness. And they have like evacuations and stuff, and it's all, again, a little nitpicky here. They have evacuations at like Fenway Park and stuff. Normally when there's like a hurricane or like some kind of storm that happens, we would just sit at home and wait for it to pass. And normally where I live, the storm always passes and nothing bad happens to us. But unless the storm is being controlled by Ghidorah, then you're screwed. Even the Rick Sanchez white-haired, not Brent Spiner scientist is all like, well, apparently if you're a Red Sox fan, this ain't good for you. Oh, I remember just, the minute I heard that, I literally yelled at the screen, screw off. If you're gonna really pull a one-liner like that, at least make it funny. It's just so lazy. Even the dialogue is just like half and half. Like, half the time it's fine and it's kind of spiritual and stuff, but then half the time it's like, oh, we're just doing this one-liners because it's like a blockbuster and stuff. I'm just trying to find a center to this film. It's a fun movie, but there's just problems in the story. There's things that really kind of annoy me. At one point, they make it look as if the mother character is on the side with the evil Charles Dance group, and at one point she's like, oh, no, I kind of changed my mind. This was a bad idea after all. When did that come into your head? And then the whole time, her and the dad or whatever, like, blame Godzilla for, like, I guess killing their son or something, and we never learn how the son died. Except in, like, that little brief moment in the beginning where you see him stomping around in 2014, and you see the family run off and stuff. Never explained. We're only left to assume, okay, I guess Godzilla ate the kid or something. And what else is there to talk about off the top of my head? It's a fun summer blockbuster flick. That's all there is to it. It's not the meaning of life. It's not trying to be awe-inspiring. And granted, there are movies where critics will shoot it down, and I'll just see pure enjoyment out of. Heck, Stargate is one of my all-time favorite guilty pleasures. It's just basic, run-of-the-mill popcorn fun, and that's really all it should be. And I miss that. I miss the fun factor in movies. But at the same time, we've come so far in this day and age where we can have fun, but smart and clever scripts. And I wish there was like maybe another rewrite done to bring that smartness, to bring that cleverness to it. I'll give it this much, they're really trying to respect the fans. There's like little nods and homages to certain things from the franchise. Even at one point, Godzilla turns to that fiery, radioactive form that he had in Godzilla vs. Desastroya! So, at very least, it shows that they're trying to care for the fans and really win them over with this one. But I wonder if they're trying to win them over a little too hard. But I still came out of it fine. It's not bad. It's not the worst. It's not a masterpiece. I just say it's a solid, fine watch in the theaters. If you can just accept all the convoluted stupidity with, like, Monarch trying to convince the government that they have to save these creatures instead of just, like, killing them off the bat. And the thing with, like, the little Charles Dance terrorist group and the fact they're trying to destroy the planet, which doesn't really add a whole lot up. I wonder if the people at the end of the movie were safe. I don't mean the main characters, I mean everyone else. Because it kind of hints off that the whole planet's just kind of a wasteland at this point. I wonder if there is a city that's intact. Oh man, it'll probably turn into the teenage wasteland from The Postman. I can see that happening right now, actually. It's gonna be all these like little atolls and stuff, and Charles Dance is gonna run around with a rebellious group of hole nests. Oh, that's another thing too. There's a post credit at the end. I wonder what direction they're going to go into. My thought with that is a bit where they find the severed head of like Ghidorah and he takes it. I wonder if they're going to go with Mecha Ghidorah. Because if they do, I would love to see what they could do with that. But even then, it's set up sequel for Godzilla vs. Kong, which I'm curious to see how that's going to do. But then again, I wonder how this movie's going to stack up well with audiences at the box office. The one by Gareth Edwards was a hit. It wasn't like a smash hit, but it was definitely a very good hit at the box office. It made a lot of money. But domestically speaking, kaiju movies are not really big heavy hitters over here. And I feel bad because there are some I've seen that are actually worth checking out, that are actually entertaining. Again, in the Godzilla franchise, there are some that can be serious or just straight up fun. And I think with this one, it's clear they're trying to go for the straight up fun ones, but at the same time, the plot, it's just so... I can see it working, but the way they execute it here is kind of dumbed down. I wish it was a little more smarter and clever, like maybe in a similar vein to Godzilla vs. the Destroyer, or Mothra vs. Godzilla. The thing about Mothra vs. Godzilla is the only one I can think of in terms of where it balances between the seriousness and the goofiness, because there is this mythological sense to it, because you have this greedy corporate guy stealing Mothra's egg, and then Godzilla's in the mix, trying to destroy it, I guess. Well, no, there's also the first film too, but I mean something like really down the road, like something that mixes up the camp factor with the serious factor very well, if that makes any sense. Like I said, this is not a bad movie. You'll definitely get your money's worth. Just make sure you turn your brain off, because if you look at the logistics of the character motivations and the story, the problems are going to surface. If you're there just for the monster fights, you'll be fine. You'll be 100% fine. Just ignore the stupid story. They needed another rewrite on this just to sharpen up a little bit. I mean, it didn't aggravate me to the point where it was like Hank Azaria or Matthew Broderick from the 98 Godzilla, or that one army guy in Godzilla 1984 who's making like all these little one-liner cracks and stuff. That's another thing too. It was nice to drink a Dr. Pepper to this film. Apparently it's Godzilla's favorite drink. So yeah, that's kind of my verdict at the moment. If you're looking for just straight up summer entertainment, I'd say give it a watch. If not, just wait until it comes out on Redbox and rent it. But if you're looking for like a good Godzilla movie, an American Godzilla movie that's just straight up dumb fun, this is as close as we're gonna get. I feel this is as close as we're gonna get. If you really want to go for a good Godzilla movie, look at the stuff that came out of Japan. There's like 5 right now I can name off the back of my hand. The first Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant All Monsters Out Attack, which is pretty much in a similar vein to the direction they kind of went with in this one. And then there's Godzilla vs. the Destroyer, which is pretty fun. Oh yeah, and then there's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Godzilla vs. Megalon's kind of stupid, so I wouldn't count that one in there. And the Smog Monster's kind of stupid as well. Destroy All Monsters, no. The last 10 minutes are what makes it worth everything else is kind of boring in that movie. Ghidra, the 3-headed monster, that's definitely worth checking out. I still gotta see more from the Millennium series, too. Man. It tries. It feels like a love letter to the series, and man, does it try. It doesn't fail. It's just... I wonder what Japanese audiences are going to think of this one, because they had a pretty interesting reaction so far to the 98 one and the Gareth Edwards one. if I recall correctly, I believe, don't correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were mixed on the Gareth Edwards version. I don't know if they've gotten this one yet, but I'd be kind of curious to hear what they have to say about this. This one does deliver. You get more Godzilla, so yay! Anyway, that's all I got to say about this one. I'll see you next time when I do Dark Phoenix. That's going to be quite a trip to talk about. So, until then, not much else to say except see you in the next upload.